Welcome back, everybody. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Now, I don't have any birthdays on my list today, so happy birthday to whoever's having a birthday out there. And this isn't in Alabama, but on this date in 1939, a time capsule was famously buried during the World's Fair in New York City. That was in 1939. Items to surely impress our posterity include a whole bunch of microfilm and, according to Mental Floss, a couple of flame retardant items that were made with asbestos. It's like sending the future a message that says, despite our best efforts, we apparently left you a habitable world. So here, celebrate with some carcinogens. But the most interesting part of the whole deal to me is that it's not supposed to be opened until the year 6939. That's right, 5,000 years in the future. Now, unfortunately, we already know what happens with Planet of the Apes well before then. Plus, I'm not sure what faith you rely on, but in mine, there's a big event that's supposed to happen at some point. And although we don't know when that's coming, I don't think we're working on a 5,000 year leash. Hey, there's also a smoking pipe in that time capsule. You're welcome, future. Today, let's talk about Bruce Pearl, Tarrant, Jabo Waggoner, and Turning Point USA. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama.
It started with the biggest pipe bomb the FBI had ever seen.
There is a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes.
It ended in a dumpster after the largest manhunt in American history.
My knees knocked so hard that I was about to answer them. That's how nervous I was.
Eric Rudolph and the rise of anger.
Domestic terrorism has been metastasizing across the country for a long time now.
True story, true crime, true consequences for us all.
American Shrapnel, from award-winning journalists Becca Andrews and John Archibald, two-time winner of the Pulitzer Prize. Now available wherever you get your podcasts.
A few weeks ago, we were all placing bets on whether Bruce Pearl would continue to coach the Auburn men's basketball team or run for U.S. Senate. Now, who among us bet the farm on neither? If you did, congratulations. But don't expect the bookmaker to wire your winnings until after the Election 26 deadline to file, just in case. Pearl surprised the college basketball world Monday by announcing he was stepping down as the Tigers coach just a little over a month before the season. He immediately takes his place as an Auburn basketball legend. His teams won 2 regular season SEC titles, 2 SEC tournament titles, and 2 Final Four appearances over his 11-year stay. The university announced that Pearl will become the special assistant to the athletics director. That's an ambassador's role. Replacing him as head coach will be his son, Stephen Pearl, who's been courtside at Auburn since his dad arrived. Now, ever since current U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville announced that he would be running for Alabama governor next year, there's been speculation that Pearl might throw his orange and blue hat into the ring for U.S. Senate. Now, he's made his support for Israel well known on social media, and like Tuberville, he's both a former Auburn coach and a vocal supporter of President Trump. But in a video released Monday, he indicated that he would stay in Auburn to work in his new ambassador's role instead. He addressed the speculation here, courtesy of Auburn Athletics.
Many of you know that I thought and prayed about maybe running for United States Senate. Maybe to be the next great senator from the state of Alabama. That would have required leaving Auburn. And instead, the university has given me an opportunity to stay here and be Auburn's senator.
So that's finally cleared up. Now, technically, he didn't actually say he wasn't running, but he said he received an opportunity to do something else instead. So he did clear it up, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he cleared it up. First rule of politics, never get boxed out. Tarrant's city government probably didn't need another problem, but city officials are saying it's about out of money, reports AL.com's Joseph D. Bryant. Now, we've talked here about Tarrant's issues at length, even bringing Joseph on to help us break it down. Political differences and personal squabbles have been the norm for years, as Mayor Wayman Newton and the city council have been at a bitter impasse. The council hasn't passed the mayor's spending budgets since 2022. A memo from Tarrant's finance department to city employees said that all purchases, right down to office supplies, must be pre-approved. The mayor himself recently sounded the alarm. Quote, if expenditures, particularly from the police department, are not brought under control, the city will run out of money, end quote. Now, note that the mayor has tried to have the police chief fired, but the council has stood in support of Chief Wendell Major, and he now reports to that council. Newton and Councilwoman Tracy Threadford do agree that there is a lack of communication, but they disagree on who to blame. Threadford, who also serves as mayor pro tem, and Newton are facing each other in today's mayoral runoff. And another mayoral runoff, the state's most high profile, is taking place today in Mobile. Voters there will decide between Republican Spiro Chirigotis, a former judge, and Democrat Barbara Drummond, a state representative, reports AL.com's John Sharp. Now, they're running to replace three-term Mayor Sandy Stimpson, who a year ago announced he had stepped down after 12 years in that office. But Jabo Waggoner isn't done yet. The 88-year-old state senator from Vestavia Hills, who's now the longest-serving state lawmaker in Alabama history, has announced he'll run next year, reports AL.com's Mike Kaysen. Waggoner said, quote, there is still much work to be done and many goals to accomplish before all the hay is in the barn. It was in 1966 when Waggoner was first elected to the State House of Representatives. George Wallace, Bear Bryant, and Shug Jordan were in power back then. Wallace was in his first term as governor. Waggoner served in the House from 1966 to 1983. He switched from Democrat to Republican and ran for Congress but lost. He then won a seat in the state Senate in 1990, and he's been reelected to it 8 times since then, said Senate President Pro Tem Garland Gudger. At this point, I'm not sure the Senate would know how to function without Jabo in the body. And Charlie Kirk's college campus tour is continuing in the wake of his assassination earlier this month. And one of the stops is at Auburn University, reports AL.com's Patrick Darrington. Turning Point USA is the conservative group that Kirk co-founded when he was a teenager. Speakers at various stops include commentators such as Megyn Kelly and Glenn Beck. Turning Point is scheduled to come to Auburn November 5th. Speakers for that date have not been announced. Hey, if you can, leave us a rating on whatever app you use, maybe even a comment. They say that gets us in front of more people, so we like that. And thanks for listening to us today. We're going to be back here in the morning. Until then, y'all come by and see us anytime you want to on the internet at al.com.